Hello, I'm Pastor Brenda Peterson, and this is my Staying Busy series, I guess you could say. During this 2020-2021 lockdown with the coronavirus pandemic out there, I have tried to do a variety of different things to kind of keep myself occupied. And one of the things that I did right off the bat was make masks for the people. And I made these wonderful little masks. And I made about 75 of them, and I gave them out to each person within the congregation. And I made some for family members as well as myself. I have a wonderful collection myself because, I don't know, a lot was left over or whatnot. And so what I thought would be really fun today would be for me to show you how I made these masks. Now, the first thing I did was that I took 3 pieces of material. Today I'm only using 2. 3 is really good. You know how they're saying we should put a mask and then a mask and then another mask? Well, that's just silliness. If you wear a proper mask to begin with, you don't need to keep adding masks to you. These masks are 3-layer, and you know they're good because you can't hardly breathe in them. And that's the reason why I'm making 2-layer masks today, because they're great for the winter time when I needed to stay warm, but for the summertime, I think it's just too much. And so that's what I'm doing today. And so what I have here is a cutting board and my little square, and I've made these things about 6 inches. So I take my little roller cutter and I just cut off the excess of what I don't need, and I have the material. And then what I did is I folded them in half, and I made these little arches so you know when you wear glasses. The first one I made went like this, and my glasses just kept getting in the way. I said, well, I just don't like that at all. So I started making little indentations for the glasses by folding it in half and then using my little cutter and then just kind of making a little scallop right there, so you can see that it has this little indentation. And then what I did is I went around and I sewed all the edges around this, leaving a hole here in the middle so that I can turn it inside out. And then once you get it all turned inside out, you have this well, I'm not turning it very quickly, so that might be kind of boring for you. But turn it inside out and pop the little corners out. And so you have this lovely little thing right here. But have you noticed that people have been constantly picking up their mask, picking up their mask, picking up their mask, and touching? Well, that's just ridiculous. You shouldn't be touching your mask. If it's sliding down your face, buy a new mask or make yourself a new mask. And so what I did is that I took these pipe cleaners and got these pipe cleaners. Oops, don't need all that. Took these pipe cleaners and then I cut off a piece of the pipe cleaner, and I used the pipe cleaner inside the mask. And so I took the mask and I shoved this pipe cleaner up inside the mask and scalped it towards this. So it's nice and stiff up here, and it will pinch around the nose. And then what I did is that I sewed around the edges of that pipe cleaner. And then I did go at the bottom once that was all done, and I tucked this in, and then I took and I sewed down this strip, and so sealing that inside. And so once I did that, then I needed to fold the mask because we want those little creases. So we folded the mask and pinned it down, and that's what I have right here on this mask is a nice fold it down. Then I sewed the edges, which I've already sewed one side of the edges on this side. I still have the pins there. I could take those out. So sewed that nice and stiff, and then I'd sew this side, and that would give us that nice thing with the little bendy around the nose for the pipe cleaner. Once I got that sewed, I wasn't finished. I needed to add the elastic for the strings. When I first made my very first one, I just attached the elastic right to the edges of this mask, just as you see it now. And but it kept pulling on my ears. It was too tight. It was pulling on my ears. And everybody knows nobody has the same shaped face. And so Lee, he has a bigger nose than I do. And he just really pulled on his. And so I realized I needed to do something different. So what I did is I took and I made these little end caps on them. And I did that by taking a piece of material. And I sewed this piece of material down on the one side. Let me go ahead and just do that right now so you can see. And so you just sew down to the end. Want these little edges flipped over in there. And sew it to the very end. Okay. And so what I did is I just sewed those to the very end and cut off those little strings. That gave me this. You see that? And then you simply fold it a little bit here and then flip it over and continue to sew it down this strip right here. And then you have these little end pieces. Those end pieces are really important because that is what you thread your little piece of elastic. And so what I like to do is take the elastic, and I go about 9½ inches on this piece because you want it to be a fairly good sized piece. And this is a nice lightweight elastic, and it stretches really, really well, but it's not too heavy. And so you take a little pen and you put this little pen on the elastic, and then you just feather it right through the end of the mask. And of course, everything goes much faster when you're not trying to record it. So what I commonly found is that I'd get to the end and it wouldn't work, so then I'd have to pull it back out and start again on the other side. Just one of those little things that just seems to happen to every single mask. I'm not sure why that little fold just wants to get in my way, and hopefully it will go through, which it's not going to, because it's just going to be one of those days where I'm trying to thread it through. You can't see, but I was trying to thread it through that little hole right there. And but what you can see is that once you get it threaded through the hole, it's in there. And then you just simply tie it in a knot, and you can see all I did was tie it in a knot right here. And this is the reason for this is that if it's too big, you can tighten it up. If it's too loose, if it's too tight, you can loosen it up. And if it's way too tight, you just get another piece of elastic. You simply just use another piece of elastic. So then you end up with a completed mask, which we have several of them everywhere. In this particular one, I used a black corded elastic because I thought it would look nicer with the black in the thing. And here's one that I've used the regular elastic with. And like I said, it has this lovely bend in there. So when you put the mask on, you give it a pinch, and it does not slide down your face. And it's reversible. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, not completely what I've been doing, but one of the projects that I've done during the 2020-2021 lockdown because of the pandemic. Of course, I also work on my sermons and my Bible study, and I sit and I watch TV and play on the internet and watch YouTube videos. But this is just one of the many projects that I have been doing. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have found some very interesting things to occupy your time during this past year. Bye-bye now. God bless you.